So let's go back to the resurvey. Again, si resurvey is ikakandak siya na survey pag yung mga previously approved na plano. For example, ikaw yung GE, nagpa-approve ka. However, hindi pa natituluhan yung documents or yung property, may nagreklamo na may conflict ngayon imo property against survey. So, pwede ka magkandakin bago nga survey or hira mismo an adjacent na lote or adjacent na property nga nagreklamo na may conflict of property, pwede ka magkandak bago, which is a resurvey. So, maging re-reference mo lang, pwede gihapan imon previously conducted na survey. So, another types of survey nga pwede ka magpa-conduct is resurvey kung may titulo na ang tuna, pero nawawala ang technical description, in which, for example, diri mo ma-search hadinar ang iyahang technical description, maski kumato ka halams, waray nga ton iyahang LDC, haiya title mismo, diri nakabutang ang iyang technical description, so you can conduct a resurvey. Sa relocation, I think you already know what is a relocation survey. Pag nawalaan mga muhon sa property and ang taiyahin tuna, gusto niya ma-determine kung hain ito talaga ang position, ang pinaka-position ito nga nawala nga muhon. So, you can conduct a relocation survey. So, the definition of this relocation means that yung GE, i-layout lang niya ang boundary or layout niya ang bearing and distance sa ground based on either mag-base siya technical description or mag-base siya sa title. So sa relocation, as long as may ka-available na technical description ng tuna, or the best references in conducting a relocation is a title and a technical description. So kung may daka ito, pwede ka na mag-diretson pag-conduct ng relocation. We have here topo. So, very familiar with topographic survey. I think you conducted this one. Ay, third year ngayon ka mo. So, si topo, itong mga usually ginakandak ng mga civil, during in conducting earthworks. So, are common surveys of genetic engineer in private factories, which aims to produce or provide an information about the existing structure of the current topography of the site for whatever purpose. For example, nagpatukod ka hintuna. So kung gusto mo patagon niya, so if you want to determine the elevation of the ground na pwede sa ikat or pwede sa i-fill, so you can conduct a topographic survey. Another example also, if mga kalsada, mga road opening. So kung bukid pa lang hiya, first thing to the survey after the parcellary is the topographic survey, in which i-determine ang mga existing mga puno, existing mga features in the ground, either trees, mga buildings, mga aagian at kalsada, and the elevation and topography, ang purma mismo ng tuna. So pwede ito. So the survey is a topographic survey. Another, we have the mining survey. So in which pwede lang siya makonduct in a mineral claims that will facilitate mining claims. So again, mineral lands are inalienable. So hindi siya pwede ma-own. So but pwede lang siya ma-lease or magbabayad ka na lang bagan lease, bagan renta. So magbabayad na sa company para magkuha ito ng mga mining, but meriton mga taxes. So para win-win situation with the government and the private company nga nag-apply in mining claims. So most of the type of survey na ginka-conduct in the mining survey is load patent or yung lease survey, either pag-determine ng boundary ng mining area, pag-determine ng boundary or pag-demarcate ng bearing and distance ng bugos na mining area, and the topography. Also, we have the underground and elevation surveys. So we have for the subdivision survey, which is very common. I think I don't need to reiterate what is a subdivision survey. So subdivision, pwede siya simple and pwede din siya complex. So si simple, yung maximum number of lots ni subdivision is 9. So, yung lot, for example, lot 113-A, so hanggang A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, hanggang I siya. So, sub A, sub B, sub C, so yun yung magiging lot number. However, pag naka-complex na, so if we are familiar with the mga dagong ng subdivision, so bawal na ang A-B. So kung damo na ang mga sublots, may dakit agin pa-follow nga numbering. So block 1, lot A, diba? Block 1, lot A, block 2, lot B, and lot 1, ang sa complex lang, naka-number na siya. Hindi na alphabet. Lot 48, block 23, lot 28, block 1. So, naka-by block, and within the block, may mga lots. So, depende sa design, I think waray man applicable, waray regulation nag-limit na number of sublots. But sa complex subdivision, niya kaniya complex kay in the terms nga damuan niya sub nga lote, damo niya lote, complex gihap niya kay in terms of the approval, damo nga kailangan ng mga documents na kailangan pa once ma-approve ang sa complex subdivision. And you need to follow the design approved by HLURB, ito na nga housing. So, this is complex. So, I think this illustration is a complex lot 1. So, example of our complex subdivision survey. So, the next category, so we're done. Those are isolated surveys, diba? Yung mga other surveys, yung mga kinakandak natin na relocation, subdivision, those are isolated. So when we say geodetic survey, you are familiar with geodetic, diba? First year pa lang, you encounter already this one. So these are surveys conducted for extensive areas to take into account the curvature of the earth. So this shall be made for the purpose of determining the geographic position or reference point of cadastral projects and other expansive isolated surveys. So, si geodetic survey, yung main purpose lang ng geodetic survey is to establish geodetic control points. Okay? We have here si cadastral, yung cadastral survey. So, comprises all surveys of extensive areas consisting several lots for cadastral registration proceeding. We have agricultural development pursuant to CA 2259. Si Cadastral Act 2259, ito yung law na governed in conducting a cadastral survey. So, si cadastral survey lang, these are surveys conducted for the purpose of taxation ng mga properties. So, for example, in isang municipality, so they conducted cadastral survey on all of the properties in the municipality. So, determine nila ang widths and bounds, the bearing and distance of each property, tapos gintagaan lot number. Asa may nakita mga lot number? CAD 113, lot 123. So those are product of cadastral surveys. So main purpose is for titling and for taxation purposes. Para magka-aida data ang mga tanan nga lote Pilipinas, so kailangan conducting cadastral survey. So we have for the topic 2. So what are the agencies that are involved in property survey? So there are a lot of agencies that are involved in the surveys. So sino lang unauthorized to conduct a survey or magpe-perform a survey? So we have here only duly licensed GE registered under this law, the RA 4374, which is now amended. Siya ay tinatawag na RA 8560. So once you this RA 8560, we already mentioned this, discuss this one in your contracts and GE professional laws last time. So these are the laws governed for practicing genetic engineer. So pwede din mag-conduct si GE na na-employed in DNR, all types of surveys under the control and supervision ni Regional Technical Director for Surveys. So si GE na na-employed kay DNR, pwede mag-conduct ng survey as long as under the supervision ng Regional Technical Director. So, si GE rin in private practice. So, yung mga GE na nag-private firm, they can conduct a survey, either in private land survey. Yung private na GE, pwede mag-conduct ng survey sa public land. As long as under supervision siya ng LMB or the Land Management Bureau through DNR or LMS. So, pag ang GE nag-conduct ng survey sa public land, kailangan siya mag-ask ng survey authority and a survey order coming from the DNR. So, pag yung GE nag-conduct ng public land survey without the permission, without the authority, or without the order coming from the DNR, so pwedeng hindi ma-approve yung survey ni GE. Okay. So, cadastral survey subject to the existing laws. Si GE rin na in private practice, pwede siyang mag-conduct ng cadastral survey again within the supervision of the LMB. So, sino si LMB? Siya yung naka-assign sa mga surveys na kinandak ng mga GE sa DNR. So, Land Management Bureau yung LMB. So, public land surveys must have survey authority from the LMB. So, ito yung dapat susundin ng private GE pag nagka-conduct siya ng public land survey. So, kailangan niya ng authority coming from the LMB. So, require niya to make necessary field correction if survey is rejected or deposit an amount to defray the cost of field correction. So, si GE, kung may nakikitang errors on the ground, kailangan niya i-report, kailangan niya i-correct, or pwede siyang i-reject ang kanyang mga survey. Sa mineral land survey, pag yung GE is nagkakandak ng mineral land survey, yung payment of bond not more than 20,000 as determined by the Regional Executive Director ng MGB. So, kailangan siya magbayad ng 20,000 payment of bond. So, pag yung GE is nagkakandak ng survey sa mineral land survey, so, required siya magbayad ng 20,000 sa DNR. So, we have here instrumentation. So, when we say instrumentation, I am referring to the instrument that we are going to use in conducting those types of surveys. So, meron tayong 3 classification ng surveying instrument na ginagamit in the conduct of survey. We have the conventional, we have aerial, yung mas advanced. We have also GNSS, yung gumagamit na ng RTK, and we have smart station. So, let's go back with the conventional. Si conventional, ito yung alam natin na total station, total station, pwede ring RTK. So, pag sinabing conventional, pag yung survey natin is, we use the instrument in conducting traverse. Pag nagkakandak tayo ng traverse, nagde-design ng traverse, nagkakandak ng triangulation, trilateration, and other terrestrial-based surveying methods. When you say terrestrial, yung instrument is nasa ground lang, hindi siya sa taas. So, those are conventional. Yung old pa na method. So, for example, gumagamit tayo ng total station, theodolite, level, and use RTK. So, those are still conventional. Sa aerial photogrammetric instruments, so ito yung gumagamit tayo ng mga drones. Pero yung mga survey na ginagamitan ng drones is hindi pa na-approve ng DNR. So, pag napansin nyo yung mga ibang GE, gumagamit ng mga drone, siguro ginagamit lang yung drone para mas mapadali yung pagkandak na survey. So, imagine may picture ka na sa property na isi-survey mo, so mas madali na lang i-layout. So, ang ginagamit ng mga GE na may drone, they capture the area ng property, after nila ma-capture, they run it to the AutoCAD. Pag nakatunihay yung AutoCAD, so madali na lang niya ikitaon kung ining banda nga nakadingayan ng mga corner. So pag relocate, madali na lang talaga kung may daka ang imo gamit may daka drone, tas may daka TS, may daka RTK. So siguro mga 30 minutes lang or what to 1 hour tapos na imo survey. So aerial photogrammetry instruments which are used in aerial triangulation. So mostly yung mga aerial survey, so pag duro na kadako ang project, for example, topographic survey in which ang imong itotopo is bugos na municipality. So pag magtotopo ka, tapos leveling lang imo gamit ang bugos municipality, dili ka mahuhuman within 1 month. So we employed ng drones, and yung drones, we can process the data using mga software na to in which yung output is naka 3D, three-dimensional na ang elevation, may model na, naka-terrain model, so mas usual, mas madali na. We have also the GNSS. So this refers to the user segment in satellite-based positioning system. So the use of the satellites to capture data on the ground. For example, yung ating mga RTK. So those are GNSS receivers. We have smart station. Yung smart station is yung combination ng GNSS and total station. So mas mahal to. So these are the instrument calibration. So the following instrument have to be tested, calibrated, and certified by the director of LMB or yung regional technical director for lands. So pag may nabili kang instrument, so hindi rin pwede nga diretso nala pag gamit sa ground. So it should be given may calibration, iti-test ito DNR sa LMB, sa NCR lang siya pwede i-test, i-calibrate. So dire ito pwede kung mapalit ka diretso nala pag gamit, no, it should be calibrated and registered sa LMB. So ito yung requirements ng calibration. So EDM, yung mga total station, pag 2 years mo siya ginamit, so need na siya in calibration. Maski diri pa hiyaruba, but it needs to be calibrated every 2 years. Pag may daka steel, mga tapes, yung this should be calibrated within every 2 years. Total station, 2 years din. Yung mga survey grade, yung mga GPS, yung mga RTK. So, yung the same, 2 years gihapon ang mga GPS. So these are the standard for theodolite. So sa theodolite, the telescope should have a magnifying power not less than 30 diameters. So itong mga 30 diameters na to, nakikita to sa manual guide ng mismong instrument na iyo papaliton. The horizontal circle should be the minimum inside diameter of 80 millimeters and provided with the micro thick readings devices. So I guess during the last board exam, 2016, ang nagawas is this one, yung diameter ng theodolite na nagawas. Okay? So the horizontal and vertical circle should be full circle in which yung circle mismo ng theodolite with at least reading of 20 seconds of 1 hour. So ang combining nga theodolite and mano-mano diri pa ang naka-digital na. So the stadia constant when each letter K in determining the distance kung nag-theodolite ang gamit, it should be 100. So sa transit, we have also transit here. The telescope should have a magnifying power of not less than 20 centimeter diameter. So an theodolite is 30, not less than 30. So transit is 20. So the telescope should have possessed with center cross. So it should be may cross ang imuhang telescope. So, the stadia constant again is 140 transits, similar kay theodolite. The minimum inside diameter for the horizontal circle should be 118 millimeters. So, I think, gudi ay nila adan na gamit yung transit yan na. Okay, so for the EDM, yung sa total station, measuring range of at least 300 meters when using one preset. So I think ang mga total station na yan na is 1 kilometer, 80 kilometer, 500 meter. I know it's not kilometer. It's 1,000 meter, 500 meter. Ang mga total station na I think, ang tag 150,000 lang. May na tag 150,000 na abutan 500 meters and range 500 to 1,000. So, sulit na ito. For the starting GE, pwede na ito ng mga instrument na mga 150, 150,000. So, pwede na. It should be operated within the accuracy of plus minus 5 mm plus 5 ppm. So, these are the probable error. If you encounter this one in the theory of errors, diba? May plus 5 mm plus 5 ppm. So this means 5 millimeter plus 5 parts per million, yung ating ppm. So parts per million, these are the probable error of ito yung sigma error ng instrument mismo. So in which pag hindi nakapasok sa ganitong standard yung kanyang accuracy ng instruments, hindi siya pwede magamit. So the minimum is 5 mm plus 5 ppm for total station. So yung temperature niya na kaya is 15 to 40 degrees Celsius. So if you buy a total station, check the accuracy, check the range, kung anong distance yung kaya niya, kung isang prism lang yung gamit, and check yung temperature na kaya niyang i-attain sa field. So this is very important. So I have here illustration how are we going to compute the 5 meters, 5 millimeter plus 5 ppm. So for example, meron kang expected error na plus minus 3 mm plus 3 ppm. So paano mo masabi na yung makuha mo na error is pasok doon sa kailangan na distance. For example, yung expected error na is plus minus 3 millimeters plus 3 parts per million. Tapos, yung distance na i-measure mo is 100 meters. So, for this solution, if you remember this formula in your theory of errors, diba? A squared plus D, in which D is the distance, A is the error here, the 3 mm, plus B, yung numerical ng parts per million, which is 3 in this example, over 1 million since ppm is 1 million. So you take the A squared plus distance times D over 1 million squared. So yung ating A squared o yung ating A is 3, sa example, 3 mm. So you convert 3 mm into meters, that is equivalent to 0.003 meters. So you take the square of that, plus yung distance natin is 100 times 3 parts per million. So if you simplify this equation here, square root of 0.003 m squared plus 100 times 3 over 1 million, so yung sagot nito is plus minus 0.003 meters. So distance error or yung standard deviation. So if you are familiar with the sigma, yung sigma error, so ito yung standard deviation is 1 sigma. So the probability that the measured result will be within the published rating. So to check if yung result na error mo in conducting the survey is pasok doon sa kailangan ng survey, so it should be multiplied by this confidence level. So kung makikita nyo, all EDM observations are subject to instrumental errors that manufacture least a constant. So yung ating constant na A and yung ating scalar na B. So you have here. So to compute kung pasok yung accuracy na na-conduct natin sa survey, you have here. For example, yung ating 3 mm plus 3 parts per million. the expected error in 100 feet, kung magme-measure tayo ng 100 feet, measurement at 68%, yung 68% is nakikita nyo dito sa confidence level. Yun, di ba, yung 68% is sigma, equivalent to sigma. So, the confidence level would be 0.003. So, yung corresponding 95% niya, yung 95% up here. Kung 95%, i-multiply natin sa 2. Kung 99.7%, i-multiply natin sa 3. So, to compute kung ano yung relative accuracy ng survey, we have here 95%. So, si 0.003, asa natin nakuha si 0.003? Ito yung result ng ating computations, yung distance error or yung standard deviation. 0.003 times 2, ito yung 95%. Yung 0.003 times 3, ito yung 99.9%. So, you review your theory of error, what is the use of your 95% and 99.5%. So, this corresponds to the relative accuracy for the measurement. We have 1:30,000. So, if you multiply this with 100, yung 100 feet mo divided by 0.003, ang magiging kalabasan niya is 1:30,000. So, you compute using direct. We have, yung 100 feet naman, i-divide mo sa 95%. We have here, yung kalabasan is 1:16,000. Yung 100 feet, i-divide natin sa 0.003, yung kalabasan niya is 1:1,000. So, these are the corresponding accuracy on that specific instrument na yung kanyang expected error is 3 mm plus 3 parts per million. Okay? So, it should have a measuring range display to read out to the nearest millimeter. So, yung total station, so dapat 3 decimal point yung reading ng total station. Huwag yung dalawang, not on centimeter lang, dapat 3. So, it should be read in millimeters. It should be provided with meteorological correction factor. We have atmospheric condition, curvature. So, sa itong condition, curvature refraction, yung refractor constant, mostly yung mga advanced na EDM is corrected na. So, EDM has not been used for some time. For example, pumalit ka mong total station na tapos hindi mo siya nagamit for 3 years. So, maski di rin mo nagamit, it needs to be calibrated. So, hain mo hiya i-calibrate. So, ang aton mga instrument, usala talaga ang i-calibration niya na. So, nakikita na to and we can calibrate our instrument UP calibration base or South Superhighway baseline. So, distance iniya in which an imo instrument iti-test nga do kung pasok ba aniya nababasa nga distance and bearing is calibrated. So, dito ika-calibrate ang imo instrument. So, once it is calibrated, tatagan ka ng registration. And pwede mo na hiya gamitan pag survey. Again, be familiarized with the baseline, UP calibration base or yung South Superhighway baseline. So, dito natin calibrate ang aton instrument before it should be used in the field. So, as GE, we should be aware of the different types of isolated land surveys and to know when each is applicable. So, anong type of survey ang mga kliyente kasi is napakiana, uy, may dako tuna, gusto ko ipa-survey. Anira nababaruan is tanan types ng survey is similar. So, you should know what are these kinds of isolated survey. For kung mapakiana, ano man nga survey ninyo gusto. So, because the different types of survey, iba-iba gihap ang taripa. So, iba ang sukot in subdivision, iba ang sukot in relocation, iba ang methods in paggandak ng resurvey, iba ang methods in paggandak ng mga government land survey. So, kung private GE ka, dili ka pwede magdire-diretso pag-conduct in survey sa mga public land. So, kung may kliyente mo in the future, pakianay-anay, ano ito nga klase nga property ada imo, agricultural, Kuan ba? May title ba? Waray? Ano ito? Residential ba ito? So, there's a lot of kailangan natin i-consider. That's why we need to review these types of survey. So, some basic requirements for land survey. We have here person to execute the survey, performance bond. So, yung performance bond mostly sa mineral lang, and instrument. So, dili ka makaka-survey kung wala ka instrument. So, that's it for this morning. Stop ko na pag-share. So, any question? I hope you learned something out of this presentation. So, I think the content of this presentation are also be discussed in the DAO 2007 in which we are going to present on September 10. Okay? So, any question before we end? Kay malako ada ang Zoom? Okay kasi ang Zoom, kay diri yan nag-uutod-utod. So, dire-diretso naton klase. Any question, Mervin?
Po, ma'am.
Mas? Kukul ba ko kan mas? Nino ini nga nawong adi?
Sorry lang.
Question? Any question before we end? After, pwede mag-open cam? Ano yan? Isi-set ko. Try daw pag-openin yung camera. After September 10, which will be the presentation of each group, we'll be having our first long exam. Kung pwede lang. Because kung mag-iiha pa kita, madadamo adaan coverage. Okay? So I hope after September 10, we can conduct na our first long exam. Actually, maupay ha Zoom. Kaso lang, malako talaga hihalod. Diri yan nag-uutod-utod.
Yes,
Para
pwede na pa.
Ha?
Ay, malako man.
Malako lagi siguro. Siguro, kuan, malako talaga yan. Diri nag-uutod-utod. So anyway, Friday buwas, ano? So you have a laboratory buwas. So pwede kayo mag-meeting iyo presentation ng September 10. Mga musta ako niyo main task? Ano man, nag-meeting na kamo? Ano nag-update?
Try pa, ma'am.
So you have, may time pa man, gihap. Okay, mag-end na kita para direct maubusan niyo load. May dan niyo klase?